Welcome to the Coached Success Podcast. This podcast is aimed at connecting you with the ways top performers think about challenges so that you can adapt your thinking accordingly and live your version of ultra extraordinary. So today on the call we're Fauzi. Fauzi all the way from Singapore. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm
It's been a
excellent.
while.
Yeah, it's been a
Yeah.
while, just over a year since we first connected.
Yeah, it was November, I remember. Yeah,
Okay,
and that was
okay.
the last time that I actually got to travel to Thailand
Yeah. Before the corona hit
for
us.
the whole COVID thing. Yeah.
And when we connected the last time, you were at a very different place than where you are right now. So that is
Mm.
why we basically have you on the show today for you to share with us your journey so far about your transformation. Do you want to tell us a bit about your current transformation and how much you lost so far?
Okay, so currently I'm standing at around 69 to 70 kilograms.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the weight fluctuates every now and then. So I'm trying not to lose too much weight. And I lost a total of 20 kg ever since I started to exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice, it's beautiful. So we know that losing weight is simply because I've lost weight as well. I've lost like 25, just over 25
Yeah.
kilograms. And the thing is that, losing weight is just one part of the transformation. There's more that
Yeah.
comes with it and goes with it. Do you want to tell us a bit about
Mm.
the biggest lessons that you've gained so far through your journey, through your transformation?
So to my transformation, I mean, okay, a backstory on how I first started. At
Mm-hmm.
first, when I heard that Singapore was gonna be locked down, so I thought like, why not I try to get active and at least while Singapore was in lockdown, at least my body wasn't so idle, and that at least I
Mm-hmm.
put in some effort to do something about my life. So when I started, it wasn't actually something very big. Like I just wanted to be active. But
Okay.
thinking about it now, I didn't expect myself to go all the way from that to here to where I am
Mm-hmm.
now. It's just the matter of, I mean, like the mindset changes over time as you go along, as you do it. So it's not like one big mindset change. It's just a matter of having that change for that moment, and it changes even more, even bigger. Like the more you go on your life when you do it. Yeah. So like one of the biggest lessons I can say is we have to be like clear about what we want to achieve throughout this journey that we are about to embark on. Like it'll be like losing weight or like gaining muscles, basically anything that we want to do. So that's why like, it's something that I'm glad that I've gone through
Mm-hmm.
all this time, this
Mm-hmm.
fitness thing that I've been going on for the past 6 7 months.
Okay. So I love that. Like you say, you know what? You have to first of all commit to the journey. And through the journey, you also discover yourself and you learn about yourself. But you
Yeah.
also grow through those moments because there were definitely
Mm,
moments of hardship and challenges. And I mean,
yeah.
losing weight is not an easy process. Okay.
It's not. Yeah.
Because you have to force yourself out of your comfort zone because the comfort zone is what
Yeah.
got you there. So you have to force
Mm,
yourself out of that. And then you mentioned that one key element or key nugget that you've learned through this process is the fact that I can change a lot within 7 months. All it takes is discipline because you said you have to stick to it for so long. And that's amazing as well. So, Fauzi, tell me a bit about the biggest lessons that you've learned along this journey to losing 20 kilograms.
okay. The biggest lessons I've learned, and it applies to anything that we do, like what I said previously, trying to build muscle and stuff. It's all about consistency. When you're being consistent, only are you able to push through that barrier that you're trying to achieve. And if we don't really give up so easily, like, because sometimes when we exercise and our mind just tells us that we want to stop. But if we decide to really just push through and persevere, we will achieve what we plan to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So it's all about the discipline, the consistency that we have to like instill in our own mind. Lah.
Mm-hmm. First of all, I love the fact that you said we have to instill this new characteristic
Yeah.
because people think that, you know what, you're either disciplined or you're not disciplined. But this is something that we
Mm.
can learn as individuals.
It
And
can learn, yes.
and that's the valuable part of life or of our journey is that we are not stuck
Mm.
being where we are right now. But all it takes is for us
Yeah,
to get
exactly.
out of our comfort zone and be willing and open to learn, be an open
Mm.
student. And from that, you
What
can
possible?
grow and grow. But like you said, it's
Yeah.
consistent effort. And I
Consistent
mean,
effort.
you can look at the results. Look at you right now. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
that is
Mm,
proof to what you can achieve if you are willing to keep pushing.
mm,
And even
yeah.
when you have those hard days, to get back up and keep going, keep going, keep going.
Mm, keep going. Yeah.
So tell me a bit about how did you continuously motivate yourself to stay disciplined?
Okay. Currently, I mean, I have goals. Having goals help because in terms of fitness goals, I actually plan to like push my body to a point where like I would never expect. So I'm just training to become stronger and stronger by the day. That's my biggest goal now. I mean, being strong is just a small part of it
Mm-hmm.
because you will never know your limit till you try something. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. Trying to push my body to a point where like I'm able to do so many things
Yes.
back when I couldn't do it. So that's my main goal that has kept me pushing forward towards
Mm-hmm.
like achieving what I want to do in life.
Okay, awesome. And like you said, right now you have big goals of just keep pushing yourself to become the best version of you, having the best body that you
Yeah.
possibly can imagine. But looking back at the earlier days before you knew that something like this is possible, okay, what motivated
Mm.
you in those initial part of your journey when you just started the training and you said the gyms are closed? There's so much reason for me not to get up and go and train. But what motivated you to develop the discipline and become consistent?
Okay, I just didn't wanted to be fat anymore. Lah. That's one
Okay.
of the main things that
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't wanted to be fat.
Okay.
And I mean, one funny thing is that I had this thing where, I mean, if the world was to really go to shit, and I mean, you've seen zombie movies and stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
those horror movies, like zombie, like post-apocalyptic world.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling myself that if something like that were to happen, I would at least want to be fit enough to survive that certain stage of the world that we are living in. As
Yeah.
funny as it seems, lah, I knew I had to change my lifestyle, the way I think, the way I live every day. From then on,
What I like about that is, like you said, initially it was just about I'm unhappy with how I look, I'm unhappy with how I feel, but I'm going to do something about it. And that is
yeah,
ultimately, where intentional growth comes from, or where change really happens.
mm,
As in those moments where we say, you know what, I'm so dissatisfied with where I am right now.
yeah,
I'm in so much pain that I need to do something about it, or I'm going to
yeah,
keep suffering for the rest of my life. And that is what you decided, you know what, from this, I'm going to move forward. And that's how you discovered,
yeah,
listen, yeah, I can do more than simply lose a couple of kilograms. And I'm way
mm,
stronger than I thought I was. So it was just a start
yeah,
of, like you say, all dominoes falling over. But initially, the initial starting point was being dissatisfied. And so many of us
yeah,
are dissatisfied with our lives right now, but we haven't turned up that emotional intensity to say, I am refusing to accept this where I am right now. I'm no longer going to
mm,
accept living a life like this, seeing myself like this. And that's what can actually propel you to create the initial traction and momentum that you need to achieve a transformation like
yeah,
you have.
exactly.
Yes.
Mm,
So I like the fact that you said, you started out like that and you just kept pushing. If you are enjoying this episode and would like some practical tips that you can use daily to thrive, then head over to coachedsuccess.com/thrive and download our 5 daily tips to thrive. That is coachedsuccess.com/thrive. Now let's get back to the episode. Let's speak a
mm,
bit about the gyms because you said initially it started also during the COVID lockdown and you didn't have access to
yeah,
gyms. So tell me
mm,
a bit about this process and the thinking behind that. Well, I'll use what I have at my disposal. Tell me a bit about that.
yeah. So yes, gyms were closed. So I didn't have any other ways to work out. So I had to use what I have, which is my own body weight. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I have enjoyed bodyweight training for very long. Like when it comes to exercising, I've always been inclined to like those bodyweight, like push-ups and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was perfect lah, because being stuck at home, that was the only kind of workout that I'm able to do. So I just decided to work on that and improve on those kind of workouts that I do. So I start to like watch videos, read articles and stuff on how I can improve the way I work out so that it can benefit me, not just in terms of my physique, but for my overall fitness too. So that's how I started lah.
Mm-hmm. But what I also like about that is the fact that you said, you know what, the gyms are closed. So that you could have used it as an excuse to say, okay, I'll start when the gyms open. But instead you said,
Yeah, exactly.
what can I do right now to start with
Mm.
what I have. And that is one of the
Yeah.
most important elements to our thinking, or the most important ways of thinking like a champion. It's thinking like, what can I do with what I have at my disposal right now? Because many of us see what
Mm.
we don't have instead of looking at what we do have.
Yeah.
And you had your body weight at your disposal and you made use of it.
Yeah.
And look at the
Exactly.
results. You understand? So that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Sometimes we have to say we refuse to accept that we don't have all the things needed to
Mm.
achieve our goal, and say instead, what do I have and what can I do with what I have? And Tony Robbins has this amazing quote about this. He says, it's not the resources, it's about how resourceful we are with
Yeah.
the resources that we
I've
have.
heard that a lot. Yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's a powerful, powerful quote. And then tell me a bit about your confidence, your personal confidence after embarking on this journey.
My confidence wise, I mean, it has gone up quite a lot
Mm-hmm.
in comparison to back then. I mean, of course, with the change in body, you tend to feel more confident about yourself. So
Mm.
I'm more self-confident about my decisions and stuff now. Like my mind is clearer and I feel more confident with myself now. Yeah, I mean, being self-confident has really been one of the main things that I've gained. Having confidence in myself. Because back then, when I was still overweight, I barely have any confidence. Like
Yes.
when I look at myself back then, I was like, wow, how
Mm-hmm.
did I ever let myself get that overweight?
Yes.
Yeah, so the more weight I lose, the more body fat I burn. That's when the confidence slowly start to build up. And that's when I realized that I didn't want to be that guy who I was. In order for me to become the best version I can be, I had to
Mm-hmm.
stop being who I was back then. Yeah, with that comes the whole change in mindset
Mm-hmm.
that I needed to be different than who I was. Yeah.
And that tends to be the most important
Yeah.
part of this whole process, this whole transformation is that it changes our perspective of life, our perspective of ourselves, our mindset in what we can do, what we can achieve. So that tends
Mm.
to be the most powerful things that I can get from a body transformation, because people sometimes think simply the body, yeah, you're losing weight, so what? Yeah, you feel more comfortable in your skin, so what? No, it's not about that. It's about you having to go against your old conditioning, your old ways of thinking. You had to break loose from wanting to sit on the couch and chow down the chips. Okay, you had to break loose from
Mm.
wanting to sleep in when you needed to wake up and do the exercises. So you had to go against who Fauzi first was, so you could create the
Mm.
Fauzi who you really destined to become. And that is a beautiful
Yeah.
process. And it's through that process, like
Mm.
you say, that you learn to then start loving yourself, start saying, you know
Mm.
what, I value myself more
Yeah.
because I know what I am capable of. I know that I
Mm.
will back myself, even when I found myself overweight, unhappy, low confidence levels. I backed myself. I took myself out of
Mm.
this dark place and I showed myself
Yeah.
what is possible. And that is true
Yeah.
power, because that you can use
Mm.
in any area of your life. That can translate to your career, to your personal relationships, to your view of yourself, like you say. So there's just so much value from it, that it's something that I believe every one of us have to do on a daily basis, is try to recreate our thinking and our view of ourselves and what is possible, and
Yeah.
do the hard things.
Yeah, that, I agree. Like only to the hard things only can we learn.
Exactly.
Good things never come easy. Like we
Yes.
really have to go through the hardship and everything, the
Yeah.
sacrifices, the blood, the sweat, the tears, and everything.
What most people also think is that it's just a 3 month process or 6 month process. You know, one of the key questions I get asked up till today is when people see my before and after photos is how long in between. And
Mm.
it's always hard for me to give them an exact timeline, because I know that the entire process took 2 years, but that was me
2 years.
getting started. And then
Mm.
in the last, say, 6 months of that journey, that's when I actually went all in. But it's difficult for us to
Mm.
really say, because the initial was just getting moving. And what happens is that most people, they want a timeline on it. They want it to sound like, okay, wow, it's only 3 months or it's only 6 months. So now I can commit.
Mm.
You understand?
Mm.
But they forget that it's a life journey. It's a life journey.
Yeah.
For me, I started my weight loss transformation 5 years ago, and I'm still on this
Mm.
journey now. Something that I've committed
Yeah.
to. I'm no longer on the weight loss journey, but I'm on the journey to doing hard things, the journey to becoming the better
Yeah.
me, the journey of growth. And I do that through training. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on the same path, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Tell me a bit about doubt. So you obviously see that the confidence has built up and
Mm.
you started to doubt
You build
yourself
up. Yeah.
less. Tell me a bit about
Yeah.
how you translating this into your career.
Okay. In terms of doubt, I'm actually a designer
Mm-hmm.
and also a photographer. slash videographer.
Mm-hmm.
So I run my own company, and I'm working full time for another company while I'm doing my side business.
Okay.
So I've gained much more confidence in terms of like me having to face like clients and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like because back then I've made a lot of mistakes in my career. I've not delivered to clients' expectations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I always beat myself up about it. Like when I fail certain things, like I always got angry with myself for like it go that far.
Mm-hmm.
So going through the journey, I slowly built back that self-confidence that I lost, which allowed me to doubt myself lesser. I trust my decisions much more now,
Mm-hmm.
like knowing that I am doing the right thing rather than second guessing my own decision. Having this confidence, I always tell myself that, okay, you might fail, but you learn from it. And only through these lessons that I go through, that's when I realized that this success is different for everyone. And some people achieve success in a much longer period, some
Mm-hmm.
people achieve success in a shorter period. And we all have to go through the hardships one way or another to reach success no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I realized that having this confidence allows me to go through it, to fail over and over again
Mm-hmm.
without beating myself about it like how I did back then. I become much more stronger emotionally to deal with all these failures.
Yes. So Fauzi, I love that. I love the fact that you said, it's through this whole transformation that you were able to then build up the strength, not only the physical strength, the emotional strength, the resilience
Okay.
to face the failures, the challenges, the hardships, and keep moving forward. No longer beating yourself up about the things that didn't go your way, but rather saying, you know what, this is also a learning opportunity. Whether I succeed or not at it, it's okay. What I'm getting is
Mm,
information that can help me refine my process so that I'm able to keep moving.
yeah,
Because ultimately, the goal is to keep moving. We're on a journey. We can't stop and say,
yeah.
okay, I failed. Maybe park on the side. No, change the tire and keep going. And we will just learn from the lessons. You will now discover that, okay, I can't ride through glass with my car. Okay, so now you know
Mm,
that will give me a flat wheel and you can keep moving again. You change your
yeah.
wheel and keep moving. Most
Mm,
people, they ride through the glass. Now what happens? Get a puncture and they just park on the side. I'm unable to
mm,
continue going. So yes,
yeah.
that's powerful. I love the fact that you said you now learn how to translate the one area that you started to master, which is your physical body,
Mm,
into the different areas of your life, because the principles and the lessons
yeah.
are exactly the same. We need to do hard things. We need to challenge ourselves.
Mm,
We need to be willing to grow, to be a student, and get
mm,
up when we fail. Get up when we face the hard things and keep going.
yeah.
Commit to ourselves, commit to our vision, to our goal, and keep thriving.
Yeah. I agree.
Fauzi, it was a beautiful chat that we had. I would love to thank you for taking the time on your Saturday morning to connect with me and share your journey with us. Your journey of how you went from being overweight, lacking confidence, lacking belief, and like you said, you struggle with the repetitive thoughts about things that you failed at, and how you develop the resilience, the strength to attack life head on.
It's my pleasure to speaking to you, man.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. This is a weekly podcast. So tune in every Monday to get your dose of inspiration that will help guide you in designing your version of an extraordinary life. This is Kyle Daniels, wishing you an amazing day. Stay winning.